Vince McMahon has always been one of the most controversial names in wrestling. I mean, this is the same guy who once kissed his own daughter on live TV.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Now he's going viral again, but this time, it's because of newly surfaced party footage showing him getting way too close with former WWE star Chyna. And some fans think this footage doesn't just back up the claims Chyna made before her death, it might actually point to something darker. Let's break it all down. The Vince and Chyna connection. To understand the impact of the alleged wild footage, we've got to rewind because Vince and Chyna didn't just work together. Their history runs deep, and for years, fans have said there was way more going on behind the scenes. Born Joan Marie Laurer on December 27, 1969, in Rochester, New York, Chyna's early life was marked by challenges. She left home at 16 due to family tensions, attended the University of Tampa, where she earned a degree in Spanish literature in 1992, and briefly joined the Peace Corps, teaching English in Costa Rica. Her athletic background and fitness competitions led her to professional wrestling, where she trained under Wladek Killer Kowalski starting in 1995. Chyna's early matches caught the attention of WWE stars Shawn Michaels and Triple H, paving the way for her entry into the World Wrestling Federation, WWF now WWE, in 1997. Billed as the ninth wonder of the world, a nod to Andre the Giant as the eighth, she broke barriers as the promotion's first female enforcer, known for her muscular physique and ability to compete against male wrestlers. What made Chyna truly revolutionary was her refusal to be limited by gender norms in a highly gendered industry. What should have been a legendary career spanning decades was cut dramatically short on November 30th, 2001, when Chyna abruptly left WWE, never to return during her lifetime. To understand why, it had to do with the tyrannical and controversial WWE boss at the time, Vince McMahon. But before that, we need to examine her relationship with Triple H and the controversial love triangle that developed with Stephanie McMahon, and how it led to the eventual fallout with Vince McMahon. Chyna and Triple H began dating in 1996, around the time they started working together in WWE. Their relationship was both professional and personal, with them eventually becoming engaged, though Triple H never gave her a ring. Their partnership seemed solid both inside and outside the ring, with Chyna frequently appearing alongside Triple H as part of D-Generation X. Everything changed in 1999 when WWE Creative developed a storyline where Triple H would marry Stephanie McMahon, Vince's daughter, on screen. In a dramatic twist pitched by former WWE employee Kevin Kelly, Triple H interrupted Stephanie's on-screen wedding to test, revealing that he had married her while she was drugged. This storyline, inspired by soap opera drama, was well received by WWE management, with Vince McMahon reportedly replying, "That's great shit," and Shane McMahon praising it as sick. According to Kevin Kelly, speaking on Hannibal TV, the pitch unintentionally impacted real-life relationships, leading to Triple H and Stephanie dating in real life, which ultimately ended his relationship with Chyna. What began as an on-screen pairing facilitated a real-life romance behind the scenes. Reports indicate Chyna and Triple H were together until early 2001, when Chyna discovered Triple H's affair with Stephanie. In a 2011 interview, Chyna shared with Opie Radio, as reported by The Sportster, that she found a love letter from Stephanie to Triple H dated from the previous year, confirming a year-long affair. This discovery, detailed in her 2002 interview with the Baltimore Sun, left her feeling betrayed and heartbroken.
How'd you find out he was cheating? How'd you catch him?
I found a note, actually. Yeah, I found a note.
Like a written note?
A written note.
What did it say?
From Stephanie, from dated a year, like tucked away in his briefcase.
The sequence of events following this discovery would reveal much about WWE's corporate culture and Vince McMahon's management style. According to Chyna's multiple interviews between 2011 and 2012, after finding the letter, she immediately contacted Vince McMahon. His response was telling, "Okay, well, the jig is up," suggesting he had been aware of the affair long before Chyna discovered it. This single phrase would later become a crucial piece of evidence in Chyna's accusations against McMahon, as it indicated his prior knowledge and tacit approval of the relationship. Chyna's former manager, Anthony Anzaldo, in an interview with Wrestling Inc. for their Documenting Chyna series, recalled Chyna's reaction to discovering the affair. When she found out Stephanie and Hunter started their relationship on camera, they made sure she was having a relationship with Eddie Guerrero, which, by the way, Eddie's wife, Vicky, hated that. So they had Eddie and Chyna on the road all over the place, and they had Hunter and Stephanie on the road while they were actually really It took a year before Chyna caught them. How did she catch them? They owned a house together in New Hampshire. This confrontation reportedly led to Chyna lashing out at Stephanie, saying, "Shut up. Call your dad in here because I'm going to choke you out. If you really feel that way, take control of yourself." The emotional toll was significant, with Chyna expressing, "This was my love. This was my career. I need to know because I didn't want to lose my career." What followed was a pivotal meeting that would ultimately end Chyna's WWE career. She arrived at the WWE building on a Monday after discovering the affair, describing a tense atmosphere where many colleagues seemed to be supporting her. During this meeting, Vince McMahon offered her a new contract, saying, "I know this is tough for you, but it's going to be okay." This apparent sympathy contrasted sharply with what happened next. When Chyna directly confronted Vince about his knowledge of the affair, she reportedly said, "You didn't know? You're the boss. You know everything," challenging his claim of ignorance. According to Chyna, Vince's reaction was to effectively terminate her employment. As her former manager, Anthony Anzaldo, recounted, Vince intervened during the confrontation, saying, "I'm throwing my hands up between you guys. Chyna, you're out," making it clear that he was siding with his daughter and Triple H. The personal fallout had direct professional consequences. According to Jim Ross, former head of talent relations on Grillin' JR, Chyna's conduct, mood, and attitude after the breakup made her difficult to negotiate with for a new contract. He noted, "I think her conduct and her mood and attitude quickly eliminated her from consideration from another contract, citing her seeming instability as too much of a risk." Following the confrontation, Chyna spoke with Vince McMahon about a new contract, but was sent home and received a fax stating WWE no longer needed her, effectively firing her in 2001. Some sources, including TJR Wrestling, claim Vince McMahon fired her to protect his daughter Stephanie. There were also financial dimensions to the split. Chyna demanded a $1 million annual contract, viewing herself as valuable as top stars like Stone Cold Steve Austin. WWE, led by McMahon, offered $400,000, which she rejected. Jim Ross noted on his Grilling JR podcast that her attitude and demands made negotiations difficult, leading to her release in November 2001 via fax, which he described as unceremonious. Chyna's 2000 Playboy pictorial, a commercial success, also reportedly caused friction with McMahon, who advised against it due to pressure from family values groups. She claimed in her autobiography that McMahon suggested it could jeopardize her championship prospects, though he later denied this influenced her departure. The convergence of personal betrayal, professional disagreements, and emotional distress made her continued tenure at WWE untenable. Her departure as the reigning women's champion, followed by being written off television, sparked debate about WWE's handling of her exit, with some fans and peers arguing she was unfairly pushed out due to the Triple H-Stephanie relationship. However, Chyna's post-WWE life was increasingly defined by controversies and personal struggles. One of the most significant controversies was her entry into the adult entertainment industry, beginning with One Night in China, a sex tape with Sean Waltman, X-Pac, that sold over 100,000 copies and won a 2006 AVN Award for best-selling title. This was followed by professional adult films like Backdoor to China and Avengers XX, a porn parody. Her relationship with Waltman, which began in 2003, was tumultuous and marked by substance abuse and public disputes. In January 2005, she was arrested for domestic assault after allegedly beating Waltman in front of his children, a highly publicized incident that damaged her reputation. Chyna battled drug and alcohol addiction, which became public through incidents like a 2005 nightclub episode where she reportedly removed her clothes and jumped into a fish tank, and a 2008 hospitalization after overdosing on sleeping medication. Her appearance on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew in 2008 highlighted her struggles, but she faced further overdoses, including one in 2010. Throughout this period, Chyna frequently criticized McMahon and WWE on social media and in interviews, feeling mistreated and excluded. In particular, her public statements from 2011 to 2012 revealed the depth of her resentment toward Vince McMahon. In January 2012, Chyna unleashed a series of scathing tweets aimed directly at McMahon, which painted a disturbing picture of her relationship with WWE's chairman. "I'm coming for you, Vince. You won't leave me alone, so let's go. Call me coward or so lame. A fan of you or talent? F you," she wrote in one particularly pointed tweet, suggesting ongoing harassment from McMahon even years after her departure from the company. Even more alarming were accusations of sexual misconduct. "You want to me and lie and video and laugh and threaten. Why you so worried? You disrespectful ego psychos, I'm not scared. Let's go. While these statements were never substantiated with evidence, they represented a dramatic escalation in Chyna's public criticisms of McMahon. She also referenced WWE's problematic drug culture, writing, "Oh, and Vince, it's Chyna. And for your death poll between Scott Hall and I, damn, I'm already under cause of you. All the drugs in your protect." This statement connected McMahon to the ongoing issues with substance abuse that plagued the wrestling industry, issues that would later come under increased scrutiny following the deaths of numerous wrestlers. While many dismissed these tweets at the time as the product of Chyna's well-documented struggles with substance abuse and mental health, they took on new significance in light of the allegations that would eventually lead to McMahon's resignation in 2022. Chyna's accusations of McMahon's behavior and tendencies weren't a singular incident. Similar accounts from multiple female performers across different eras suggest a pattern of problematic behavior and treatment by McMahon, and they highlight a key backdrop in the multiple scandals Vince McMahon has been involved in. The McMahon scandals. Vince McMahon, once the untouchable titan of professional wrestling, who transformed a regional promotion into a billion-dollar global entertainment empire, has seen his legacy increasingly tarnished by multiple accusations of sexual misconduct spanning decades. The most damaging of these allegations came in January 2024, when former WWE employee Janelle Grant filed a bombshell lawsuit against McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE itself. This wasn't just any lawsuit. It contained explosive allegations of sexual assault, trafficking, and horrific abuse. Grant, who worked as an administrator coordinator at WWE from 2019 to 2022, made claims that sent shockwaves throughout the wrestling industry and beyond. According to the lawsuit, Grant met McMahon in March 2019 while living in the same building during a period of personal hardship following her parents' deaths. What initially appeared to be McMahon offering help during a difficult time allegedly transformed into something far more sinister. The lawsuit claims McMahon promised her employment at WWE but simultaneously pressured her into a physical relationship, warning her to keep their closeness secret and threatening legal action if she refused. Once hired with a $75,000 salary, Grant alleges her employment became contingent on sexual compliance, with McMahon controlling her job security. The allegations grow increasingly disturbing from there. The lawsuit details claims that McMahon forced her into sexual encounters at WWE headquarters, shared explicit photos and videos with WWE staff, executives, and even a world-famous athlete, UFC heavyweight champion, later identified as Brock Lesnar. Even more disturbingly, Grant alleges McMahon essentially used her as a bargaining chip in contract negotiations. The lawsuit describes specific incidents in graphic detail. In May 2020, during an alleged threesome, McMahon reportedly defecated on Grant and continued the encounter for over an hour and a half. In June 2021, McMahon and Laurinaitis allegedly assaulted her in Laurinaitis' office, ignoring her pleas, with Laurinaitis saying, "No means yes and take it." The allegations extend beyond sexual assault. Grant claims McMahon directed her to Dr. Carlin Kolker at Peak Wellness, where she was allegedly medicated with unknown substances and subjected to sexual abuse by a clinic employee, as detailed in an October 2024 filing. In January 2022, after Linda McMahon reportedly discovered the affair, Grant claims she was pressured into signing a non-disclosure agreement for $3 million, though she alleges she received only $1 million before payment stopped. Her lawsuit seeks to void this NDA under the Speak Out Act, claiming it was coerced and breached by McMahon's failure to pay the full amount. Perhaps most damning for WWE as an organization, Grant asserts that multiple WWE executives, including Nick Khan and Brad Bloom, knew of McMahon's misconduct, but actively worked to conceal it. She claims the 2022 Special Committee investigation into McMahon's behavior was a sham, and that investigators never interviewed her, despite her willingness to cooperate. The lawsuit's impact was immediate and devastating. Just one day after Grant filed her lawsuit, McMahon resigned from his position as executive chairman of TKO Group Holdings, the parent company formed when WWE merged with UFC in 2023. While the Janelle Grant lawsuit represents the most severe allegations against McMahon to date, it's important to understand that controversy has followed Vince McMahon throughout his career, dating back decades. One of the most significant early scandals was the 1994 steroid trial, which nearly brought down both McMahon and his wrestling empire. During the 1980s, the WWF, now WWE, transformed professional wrestling into a global phenomenon through the Hulkamania era, characterized by wrestlers with superhuman physiques. Stars like Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior, and Rick Rude embodied the larger-than-life aesthetic that defined the WWF's success. However, this success came under intense scrutiny as allegations of anabolic steroid use surfaced. The scandal began with Dr. George Zahorian III, a urologist from Hershey, Pennsylvania, who served as a ringside doctor for the WWF. Zahorian was convicted in 1991 for illegally distributing anabolic steroids to 37 WWF wrestlers and 43 individuals in total, receiving a 3-year prison sentence. Evidence from his trial revealed that he shipped steroids directly to Vince McMahon's office at Titan Towers, the WWF's headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut, implicating the company's leadership. A significant revelation was a 1989 memo from Linda McMahon, WWF CEO, and Vince's wife, sent on December 1, 1989, advising against using Zahorian due to suspicions of illicit steroid distribution. The memo, allegedly relayed through Pat Patterson, tipped off Zahorian to destroy evidence, indicating that WWF management was aware of the investigation and took steps to mitigate exposure. In November 1993, Vince McMahon was indicted by the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York on 3 main charges: conspiring to distribute steroids, possession of illegal steroids with intent to distribute, and embezzlement for allegedly using Titan Sports Inc. funds to purchase steroids. The charges carried a potential penalty of 11 years in prison and a $1.5 million fine, threatening both McMahon's leadership and the WWF's survival. The trial, United States v. McMahon et al., began in July 1994 and lasted 18 days. Initially facing 6 charges, 3 were dismissed before the trial, leaving 2 counts of distributing steroids and 1 count of conspiracy. Judge Jacob Mishler further dismissed the distribution charges due to insufficient evidence within the court's jurisdiction, leaving only the conspiracy charge for the jury to consider. The trial featured testimonies from several WWF wrestlers and personnel. Hulk Hogan, testifying under immunity, admitted to using steroids for 14 years, including during his WWF tenure, but stated that McMahon never encouraged or supplied them. He described sharing steroids with McMahon as gym buddies, a statement that undermined the prosecution's case. After 16 hours of deliberation, the jury acquitted McMahon on July 23, 1994, prompting celebrations among his family, friends, and supporters. Despite the acquittal, the trial confirmed that steroid use was rampant in the WWF, with wrestlers relying on these substances to achieve the superhero, comic book-level physiques that defined the era. McMahon himself admitted to using steroids before they were made illegal in 1991. The steroid scandal coincided with other controversies that amplified scrutiny on McMahon and the WWF. In 1992, former referee Rita Chatterton accused McMahon of raping her, appearing on Geraldo Rivera's television program. Allegations of child sexual abuse against other WWF employees, known as the Ring Boy scandal, also surfaced, though not directly tied to the steroid case. While the steroid trial was eventually resolved in McMahon's favor, allegations of sexual misconduct have proven more enduring and damaging to his reputation. One of the earliest and most significant came from Rita Chatterton, WWE's first female referee. Chatterton alleged that McMahon raped her in a limousine in New York in the summer of 1986. She claimed McMahon promised a $500,000 annual contract if she satisfied him, implying a quid pro quo. After the incident, Chatterton stopped receiving referee assignments from WWF, effectively ending her tenure. Chatterton didn't go public with her allegations until 1992, appearing on Geraldo Rivera's shows Now It Can Be Told and The Geraldo Rivera Show. By that time, the statute of limitations had expired, preventing criminal charges. In 1993, McMahon and his wife Linda sued Chatterton, Rivera, and others for emotional distress, but the suit was discontinued in 1994. What gives Chatterton's allegations particular weight is the corroboration they've received. Former wrestler Leonard Inzitari, ring name Mario Mancini, corroborated her account, stating he found Chatterton crying after the incident, and she described McMahon's assault. Additional witnesses, including John Wisniewski Jr., supported her claims when the case resurfaced in 2022. In November 2022, decades after the alleged incident, Chatterton's attorney demanded $11.75 million from McMahon, citing severe emotional and physical damage, including depression and substance abuse. A settlement was reached in 2023, reportedly in the multi-millions, though the exact amount remains remains undisclosed. McMahon did not publicly comment on the settlement through WWE or his attorney, Jerry McDevitt. Chatterton's case represents just one of multiple sexual misconduct allegations against McMahon. In January 2006, a 22-year-old clerk at Tanzabar Tanning Salon in Boca Raton, Florida, accused McMahon, then 60, of sexual harassment and assault. The clerk claimed McMahon showed her nude photos, attempted to kiss her, groped her, and touched her inappropriately. The Boca Raton Police Department found probable cause for misdemeanor simple battery, marking the case as cleared by warrant. However, prosecutors did not file charges, citing insufficient independent evidence to meet the higher standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. In 2011, a spa manager at a five-star resort alleged that McMahon assaulted her. The specifics remain unclear, but the manager's husband confronted McMahon at a WWE event, indicating significant distress. Beyond the individual allegations, one of the most damaging revelations came in 2022, when a WWE board investigation triggered by a whistleblower email uncovered that McMahon had paid over $12 million in hush money settlements to 4 women over 16 years. The largest of these payments was $7.5 million to an unnamed former WWE wrestler who alleged that McMahon coerced her into performing oral sex in 2005. After resisting further sexual encounters, she claimed she was demoted and her contract was not renewed. The Wall Street Journal reported that this settlement was part of a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, to suppress the allegations. Other settlements included $1 million to a woman who worked as a WWE contractor in 2006 and alleged she received unsolicited nude photos from McMahon, and another $1 million to a former manager who worked with McMahon for a decade and received a settlement for an unspecified relationship, likely involving harassment. These settlements, totaling over $12 million, were not disclosed to WWE's financial controls, leading to legal troubles beyond the allegations themselves. In January 2025, McMahon settled with the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, paying a $400,000 fine and reimbursing WWE $1.3 million for false accounting related to these undisclosed payments. The revelation of these settlements led to McMahon temporarily stepping down as WWE CEO in July 2022 amid the investigation. He briefly returned in January 2023 before resigning permanently from TKO Group Holdings in January 2024 following the Janelle Grant lawsuit. Adding further context to the pattern of alleged inappropriate behavior are posthumous claims from former WWE diva Ashley Massaro, who passed away in 2019. In 2024, a posthumous affidavit from Massaro, obtained by Vice News, alleged McMahon pursued her romantically and punished her with demeaning scripts after she rejected his advances. She also claimed McMahon made vulgar comments and sabotaged her career. Former wrestler Paul London corroborated these claims in a 2022 interview on the Café de Renee podcast, detailing Massaro's distress over McMahon's persistent advances. According to London, McMahon obsessively pursued Massaro, propositioned her to fly on his jet, and knocked on her hotel room door despite her rejections. Massaro's allegations were part of a broader narrative of McMahon's interactions with female talent, with her affidavit suggesting a pattern of predatory behavior that extended beyond her own experience. She claimed she observed McMahon making out with other female wrestlers in the locker room, indicating a pattern of physical interactions with female talent. The posthumous nature of Massaro's allegations adds a tragic dimension to the narrative, especially considering her death by apparent suicide in 2019. Against this backdrop of mounting allegations against Vince McMahon, we now turn our attention to Chyna, one of the most revolutionary figures in wrestling history and a key player in the alleged viral report that's currently making waves across the internet. The aftermath and legacy of Vince McMahon. Regardless of the authenticity or specific content of this viral report, its emergence represents another blow to Vince McMahon's already damaged legacy. For decades, McMahon was revered as a visionary who transformed professional wrestling from a regional attraction into a global entertainment power, creating WrestleMania, the Attitude Era, and stars like Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and John Cena. Under McMahon's leadership, WWE's revenue grew from a modest $87 million in 1994 to 95 to a staggering $1.3 billion in 2022, with a 194.77% increase from 2001. The 2023 merger with UFC to form TKO Group Holdings valued WWE at $9.3 billion, underscoring his business prowess. These achievements established McMahon as the most influential figure in wrestling history, with an impact that extended far beyond the ring into mainstream popular culture. However, the mounting allegations against McMahon have fundamentally altered how he's perceived, both within the wrestling community and by the general public. The 2022 revelation of over $12 million in hush money payments to women alleging misconduct was the beginning of the end for McMahon's public reputation. The January 2024 Janelle Grant lawsuit, with its graphic allegations of sexual assault and trafficking, further damaged his standing. Industry figures have increasingly distanced themselves from McMahon. Wrestlers who once praised his genius now acknowledge the complexity of his legacy. For example, Arn Anderson has praised McMahon's marketing brilliance, but criticized his focus on entertainment over in-ring action. Eric Bischoff, once McMahon's fierce competitor and later employee, described him as brilliant, but has since expressed shock at the allegations. Even WWE itself has taken steps to separate its brand from McMahon. Following his resignation, the company has emphasized its new creative direction under Triple H, Paul Levesque, highlighting positive changes in storytelling and talent relations. The company's $5 billion Netflix deal and continued business success suggest that WWE may be able to thrive without its controversial founder. The 2024 Netflix docuseries, Mr. McMahon attempted to grapple with this complex legacy, but was criticized for not fully addressing the serious allegations against him. As Pace magazine noted, the series didn't fully grapple with Vince McMahon's life and the seriousness of the claims against him, highlighting the challenge of reconciling the brilliant business mind with the alleged predator. Media coverage of McMahon has shifted dramatically, from celebrating a visionary entrepreneur to examining a dark descent. Publications like CEO Today have run headlines like Vince McMahon's Dark Descent, Scandal, Sex, and the Fall of Wrestling's Most Powerful Mogul, reflecting this transformed narrative. While the recent viral report has further tarnished McMahon's reputation, it has paradoxically reinforced Chyna's status as a wrestling pioneer whose career was cut short by factors beyond her control. For many wrestling fans, the footage serves as a reminder of how a trailblazing performer was ultimately treated by the company she helped elevate. Chyna's legacy is multifaceted. As a wrestler, she redefined women's roles in the industry, competing against men and holding titles previously exclusive to male performers. Her Amazonian physique and in-ring dominance inspired modern stars like Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Jordynne Grace, who have acknowledged her influence on their careers. Beyond wrestling, Chyna's media appearances and Playboy pictorials made her a pop culture figure, challenging stereotypes about female athletes. Her success paved the way for WWE's women's evolution, emphasizing athleticism over traditional diva roles. However, her legacy is also marked by controversy and tragedy. Her personal struggles and adult film career sparked debates about her legacy, with some fans celebrating her resilience and others focusing on her challenges. Her complex relationship with WWE, marked by estrangement and eventual recognition, remains a point of discussion among wrestling fans and historians. The viral report, coming after years of escalating allegations against McMahon, has significant implications for WWE as a company. While McMahon formally resigned from TKO Group Holdings in January 2024, the ongoing revelations continue to affect the company's operations, public perception, and internal culture. The most immediate impact has been on WWE's leadership and creative direction. With McMahon gone, Paul Triple H Levesque has assumed full creative control, implementing changes that many wrestlers and fans have welcomed. Several current WWE superstars have implied or directly stated that WWE is better without McMahon's influence. AJ Styles, in a March 2024 interview on the Battleground podcast, noted WWE has improved under Triple H, focusing on enhancing talent rather than showcasing their worst. He highlighted past releases under McMahon, suggesting relief at fewer releases, stating, "Being released, it'll crush you, and I don't want to see people's lives being ruined because of a job." Seth Rollins, in a September 2022 interview with Ryan Satin on the Out of Character podcast, called Triple H taking over very exciting and a breath of fresh air, contrasting it with working with McMahon, which he described as a double-edged sword. Kevin Owens, in multiple 2025 interviews, praised Triple H's booking, stating it makes WWE way more interesting compared to McMahon's approach. In an April 2025 interview with Chris Van Vliet, he credited Triple H for innovative ideas like relying on fan footage for storylines, saying, "He wants to tell stories differently, and he's willing to try stuff out and see what sticks, and I think that makes the show way more interesting." Becky Lynch, in February 2023, called Triple H's takeover phenomenal in an interview with Mike Coppinger of ESPN, expressing optimism for creative improvements, saying, "We have the opportunity to change some things that maybe weren't so great that we didn't love." Former WWE star Ronda Rousey was perhaps the most direct, stating in a July 2024 interview with CBS Sports' Shaquille Majuri, "I think anyone's better than Vince McMahon. The only place you can go is up." These statements from top performers suggest a significant shift in WWE's internal culture, with many wrestlers feeling more creatively fulfilled and personally respected under the new leadership. Wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer, in the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported on October 20th, 2023, noted that much of the talent felt creative was better better without McMahon, stating, "Almost everyone would say it's more of a good thing than a bad thing." From a business perspective, WWE has been remarkably resilient despite the controversies surrounding its founder. The company secured a $5 billion 10-year deal with Netflix in January 2024, shortly before McMahon's resignation. WWE's stock price, now part of TKO Group Holdings, has remained relatively stable, suggesting that investors believe the company can thrive without McMahon. However, the ongoing legal issues related to McMahon's alleged conduct continue to pose risks. The Janelle Grant lawsuit, which names WWE as a defendant alongside McMahon and John Laurinaitis, alleges corporate complicity in McMahon's misconduct. Grant asserts that WWE executives, including Nick Khan and Brad Bloom, knew of McMahon's behavior but concealed it, and that the 2022 Special Committee investigation was a sham. These allegations raise questions about WWE's corporate governance and the extent to which a culture of enabling or ignoring misconduct may have existed within the company. As the Grant lawsuit proceeds, additional revelations could emerge that further implicate WWE as an organization. The report adds another layer of complexity to this situation. If authentic, it suggests that McMahon's alleged inappropriate behavior with female talent may have been more extensive and well documented than previously known. This could potentially strengthen Grant's claims about a pattern of misconduct that went unaddressed by WWE leadership. For WWE's current regime, led by Triple H and Nick Khan, the challenge is to continue the company's business success while establishing a clear break from the problematic aspects of the McMahon era. This includes creating a safer, more respectful workplace culture and addressing the legacy of how female talent was treated in previous decades. If you enjoyed this video, check out our other awesome videos on the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.